And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. And it is truly a blessing to be with you, whether you're out collecting Christmas gifts, celebrating Hanukkah, or putting on your chin strap and going to work each and every day. Know that you have found a home where we appreciate you, and we talk with you, not at you. And again, hope you're having a great day. We're going to stimulate your thoughts, get you fired up and waking up on the right side as we move along. And before we get rolling here today, by the way, Bill O'Reilly will be joining us. That's right, the Bill O'Reilly will once again, not a replay, will be joining us coming up this hour as well. Lars Larson will join us next hour, and we always appreciate the great work of both of those fine conservative men. But I was watching the news, and Ray Amaya mentioned this to me about an hour ago. And there was a big press release from the Ada County first responders, Ada County ambulance, Ada County fire and paramedics, whomever. And our friends at the local television stations, they went out and they covered it. They did their own thing. And the big news is that we've got an armored ambulance. We've got an armored ambulance. Like we have armored personnel carriers, now we have an armored ambulance. And many of us, and if you haven't been with us long, first of all, welcome. Thank you for finding us here on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. A few years ago when people were decommissioning military vehicles, and I think Ada County, Canyon County, Boise PD, Meridian PD still have them, these armored personnel carriers, that are bulletproof. Really, really, really bulletproof, right? And we talked about the militarization of the police. Now, look, I'm not objective when it comes to law enforcement. Like everyone, law enforcement, not perfect, but darn near in my opinion. And the debate was whether or not local police, federal police should have these vehicles. Whether or not they're appropriate, whether or not it's a violation of our civil rights, whether or not we're worried about the police becoming like the military and taking us over. And it was a lively debate. It went on for months here. So now we have an armored ambulance. And the big question here at 580-5436-580-KIDO, is that really necessary to have an armored ambulance? Do we have enough gunshots and people firing automatic weapons that it's gotten so ridiculous, so bad in Ada County, Idaho, that we will call in an armored ambulance? Now, again, my ignorance in law enforcement procedures, I will raise my hand. I'm not out there getting shot at. I'm not out there being the first responders. If it keeps people safe, so be it. What's the harm? What's the harm in having an armored ambulance in Ada County? But the big question here is it that bad? At 580-5436-580-KIDO. Is it really that bad? Are we preparing ourselves for it to be that bad? Now you've got Antifa in Portland. You've got people doing crazy things in Seattle. Are we worried about those not devious little libs, but those destroying little libs coming into our beloved Idaho and trashing the place? Now, if I'm a paramedic, I'm thinking this is great news. But are we arming ourselves up for something that is unnecessary? We go to Rex in Boise. Rex, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Rex.
Good morning, Kevin. So I'm prior service myself, and the big problem I got with militarization of police is suppressive fire. The military uses suppressive fire automatic weapons to keep the enemy down and move your allies, your friends around them so that you can set up, kind of like what is the word I'm trying to use? Anyway, the police don't do that. The police, they're not for suppressive fire. So the militarization of the police, to me, is completely wrong. And your ambulances, they don't, or your EMTs, they don't respond until after the situation's already, clear. After we know that the EMTs going into the situation are not going to be in danger. So an armored tank, these are not things that we need in America. And if we have a war in America, we have an army, we have a National Guard, and a commander-in-chief there in Boise to take care of us. And that we don't need our police force to do it.
So why the armored ambulance, do you think?
Myself, from my experience in the military, you spend the money so that you get the budget next year. I think it's as simple as that. And they're expensive. So they take up quite a bit of a budget.
Fair enough. Rex, thank you for the call.
I do find it as a complete waste, because I don't think our military, or I don't think our cops need to be anything like military, because you don't want to suppress a criminal. You want to bring them out and apprehend them. So the whole thing is completely a waste, in my opinion.
And by the way, thank you for your service, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. All right. Let's continue on here. We'll get more of your phone calls in a minute at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So again, the armored ambulance is designed to protect people, but how many war zones are we going to have here? Now, maybe there are some bad hombres, some narco-terrorists, whomever else, roaming the streets of Ada County. I don't know. Maybe it's better than letting this vehicle go to the junkyard, or the narco-terrorists get it. Look, I'm all for saving lives, but it does send a message. And quite frankly, when I've seen that big armored personnel carrier, that MRAP that they have in Canyon County, I'm wondering, are they taking down the bad guys, or are they coming for me? And how do you get rid of an armed citizenry? Well, you have peace through superior firepower, I suppose. An ambulance is different from an assault vehicle. Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. Good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I don't know whether it's an irony or if it's anything at all, but they just got finished last week doing some very serious military training in Nevada for urban assault. Are we going back where we were at 5-6 years ago? I don't know here. I guess if you let Hollywood rule the mind.
Terry?
40 policemen still there?
Yeah, you broke up. Go ahead.
I'm sorry about that, but the shootouts on television, the movies, and the police are needing to pull another vehicle in front of the shooter and protect their comrade and drag them to safety. Well, yeah. If we get into that, why not have a armor-plated ambulance? But what is the thinking? Why?
Well, they're thinking that maybe there's some bad people, and instead of causing more casualties, people are going to be protected.
Well, you and I both know we came here 10 years ago. But violence here, shootings were almost non-existent.
Just like traffic.
Now, yeah, traffic. That's a battle zone unto itself. But I don't know. Maybe they're foreseeing. They're looking at the charts in the graphs, and they say as we progress, we're going to see this much more violence. I don't know. But it certainly raises an eyebrow. But and if we were to go,
well, you're raising an eyebrow. Are you for it or against it?
I'm for it at this point, very reluctantly. Very reluctantly. If I've got a law enforcement officer laying there shot, and we can pull an ambulance in and pull him in a side door and get to, attending to him immediately and get out of there, I'm all for it. But first off, I guess it takes us up to the futuristic questions such as, well, wait a second, who shot him? Was it the Patriots? In our conspiratorial mind, were the Patriots shooting him because they were following orders that were to suppress the public? Was it bank robbers? Was it the really bad guys? I don't know. So again, it just raises an eyebrow. It's like it seems odd because it's not our norm, Kevin. For law enforcement and to have a armored ambulance. I mean, think about the very thing. It's like, wow, that's strange. So be wary of it? I don't think so. Keep it in mind? Probably. Kevin, I just want to say you did a good job with Tom this morning and Hank, and you brought them both out, and I just thought that what they both had to say was absolutely excellent. That was good content, and you did a great job bringing them forward.
Well, we're trying to keep up with you.
Yeah, right. You mean Blowhard Bob. Anyways, so...
Did you just call Tea Party Bob a blowhard?
Well, he's everybody knows that. He talks out both sides of his mouth.
That's not very nice, Terry.
Well, no, it has nothing to do with being nice. It's just a reality. Come on. Maybe he's trying to impress a new girlfriend or something. I don't know. Who knows? But nonetheless, Kevin, if we need the ambulance, I'll be glad it's there. If we don't need the ambulance, then it was an expenditure we probably tend to put our money into. What can you say?
Fair enough. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We continue on. Let's go to Robert in Boise. Robert, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, aren't most of these EMT companies private?
I believe so, yeah.
So don't you think that maybe one of the EMT companies may have seen one of these available and just did it just kind of for show?
Well, I think Ada County, though, it's owned by the county.
Well, okay, if it's, you said an EMT, I thought in Ada County. I didn't know that it was... No,
it's owned by the county. Yeah, my mistake.
It's owned by the county. Okay, well, that kind of takes care of my problem then. All right, that's all I had to say.
Well, now, before you go, do you think it's necessary?
I don't think at this point in time it's necessary, but... who knows? If the libs are taken over, why, it certainly could be.
Fair enough. Thank you, Robert.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Pro-Life joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Pro-Life.
Hello, am I on there?
That would be you, and you would be on with me. Good morning.
Well, hey, good morning. The whole principle of government is that if the upper government, say the federal government, is wrong about something, a state does not have to go along with it. A state can rebel. A state has its rights.
Now, wait a minute. What are we? What does this have to do with an armored ambulance?
Well, I'm going back to, I guess, when Article 5, we were talking a little
Article
while ago.
5, that was last hour.
Yeah, well, hey, I guess I'm
You're a little slow on the draw there, buddy.
Well, about ambulances, I don't, that's up to the state.
In other words, you don't have a problem with ambulances, is what you're saying.
Well, in this regard, if the federal government gives us armored vehicles, they become our property. They can't come and take them over and say, listen, we gave these to you, and we're taking them over.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
It's called the Supremacy Clause.
No, whatever's right is supreme. It's not who has
the federal government's right, and you're going to be bowing down to them.
Well, yeah, everybody says whoever has the biggest guns, they have their right to do whatever they do, but that's not, of course.
That's how it works.
That's how it works, but that's not right. And so that's why we have baby murder all over the place. We have gays running crazy, and we have
Did you just say the gays are running crazy?
I mean, they have superior rights. You can't criticize transgender homosexuality. I don't know. You can't even.
What does this have to do with the armored ambulance?
Well, it has to do with the principle that you fight back against any authority that tells you that natural rights, God rights, are you can't have your rights. I mean, that's the problem.
Interesting.
People are just bowing down to the federal government, taking anything they say.
They are taking it from the feds.
Yeah, and the courts do not have the right to make law. And if you can't get that through your head, hey, you're a total dummy. So,
Boy, you're calling everybody a dummy today.
yep, because we all bow down to the federal courts.
We all bend over for the feds.
Yep, and that's
Even you, pro-life.
Nope, I don't bend down to them.
You don't bend. You bend over for the feds. Well, that's good to know. Thank you, pro-life.
All right, we'll catch you later.
All right. More of your calls next, plus Bill O'Reilly before 8 o'clock. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
This vehicle is specifically designed for the rescue of citizens and officers who may be involved in situations that aren't accessible to normal ambulances.
There we have it. That's from our friends at Channel 7, debating the need for an armored ambulance in Ada County. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Ted in Boise. Ted, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks. You have an interesting audience this time of morning. So my point is simply this. If those who remember the Kevin Holtby shooting, he was scooped up and hauled off to the hospital in an armored vehicle because that's all they had available to get that close to the scene at that time. So I'm for it, and part of that is because in the Treasure Valley here alone, we've seen an exponential growth in gang violence, shootings, officer-involved shootings. Spoke to an officer the other day, and I may have these numbers a little wrong, but he said there was more officer-involved shootings in the last 3 years than there was in the previous, 12 or 15 years combined. The other thing we've seen nationwide, and I throw this out as, again, an argument for why we need vehicles like this, is we've seen a lot more ambush-style attacks on not just law enforcement, but fire and EMS both. So there's times and places where that vehicle is necessary. The idea that they bought it just so they could have a bigger budget is just ludicrous because this is a one-time expenditure. To me, it's a tool. It's not going to be used very often because it's expensive to operate, I suspect. But it's a tool that, unfortunately, our society is needing more and more. And that kind of violence, those ambush-type violence events, are coming to the Boise Valley before we know it.
Ted, thank you for listening and calling in this morning on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yep.
Great point there. More in a minute. Traffic and weather together. KIDO Talk Radio.
It's Eric Everett.
And I'm Kevin Miller. Let's go to Brian in Meridian. Brian, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Hey, I wanted to chime in on your topic a little bit. I'm not your favorite person. I also moved here from California, but I was on a SWAT team in the North Bay, and we got a lot of flack when we got a Bearcat armored vehicle. And on one occasion specifically, we took that to every call we went to, but on one occasion specifically, we did take fire from the suspect that we were there to apprehend, and it did save the lives of both myself and some of the people on my team, as far as I'm concerned, because the vehicle did take the rounds. And so when you talk about the price and is it worth the price and things like that, I can assure you that I think it is. My team, my former team thinks it is. My family thinks it is. And that law enforcement's using those vehicles for a tool. They're taking them to keep themselves safe. They are taking them to keep the public safe. And unfortunately, we just live in times where tools like that have become necessary to do our job.
Brian, we appreciate the thoughts. Thank you, sir.
Anytime. Bye.
Oh, all right. Thank you for keeping us safe. We continue on. Let's go to Holly in Caldwell. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. I think I just wanted to bring up a few points that we've learned in the last 6 to 12 months. And I sure want to make sure that my point isn't misconstrued, because I know there are a lot of good men and women on the ground that work in law enforcement. But the things that are concerning when this type of militarized type of equipment comes to the police departments is the overall lobby group, the Fraternal Order of Police, is lobbying to heavily arm police departments at the same time to take away Second Amendment rights. And I think it all goes down to intent. And yes, those machines are probably good for certain situations, but I think we just want to be sure that good Americans are not being targeted. We've seen that a lot since we've passed the Patriot Act. And I just encourage people to go look at freeschaefer.com and read his story, and maybe think twice when they go to the ballot box and become informed about the PACs when they go to vote and who they actually are voting for.
Holly, great point. Brian, we'll get to you after Bill O'Reilly if you want to hang on. We appreciate you. More coming up. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Kevin.
KIDO Talk Radio. Joining us now, our great friend, the champion of conservatism, of common sense, of the folks, Bill O'Reilly. Mr. O'Reilly, I'm sorry, Bill, good to have you back, sir.
Well, Kevin, it's my pleasure to talk to you today.
You know, first of all, BillO'Reilly.com, Killing the SS, a lot of projects going on. If we could we talk a little bit about just killing the SS, and can we comprehend just how evil these folks were?
Well, that's why I wrote the book. You know, I was looking around for another topic. This is the 8th killing book. And there are 17 million copies in print, which makes it the most successful nonfiction book series of all time. And, you know, we want to be different when we write books. This is the 3rd kind of World War II book. We wrote Killing Patton, Killing the Rising Sun. But I like to tie it into people's lives, you know. So I'm seeing a rise in evil in America. I think everybody who pays attention is. People walking into schools and synagogues and churches gunning down innocent Americans for no reason at all. You know, the cleric situation with the kids. This is all evil. And, you know, it occurred to me that a lot of people just don't understand that ordinary people, all of us, have a capacity for evil. So that's why we wrote Killing the SS, because these people who signed up, you had to volunteer for this crew. You weren't drafted in Germany into the SS. They signed up and they went into concentration camps, and they were bankers and farmers and merchants, and they killed babies. And then after the war, a lot of them just went back home. And the big ones got and knew they had to get out and then escaped, and they were helped by people. So it's an amazing array of evil, and I want people to know it exists and that they have to confront it when they see it.
And yet today, we get mad when somebody tweets something that some people would deem offensive. Very different times today than back then.
Well, that's an annoyance, the PC stuff. And I think Americans are starting to get it, because it just comes home when you got a guy like Kevin Hart can't host the Academy Awards because he's a comedian and he did some gay jokes 10 years ago. People are just going, you know what, look, we understand we're getting this rammed down our throat, particularly by the media, but we don't like it. And, of course, there are situations where you don't want people bullied and you don't want people driven down because of they're in a position of vulnerability. Everybody understands that. But when I'm going to do a segment soon about movies that were hugely successful you couldn't make today. Animal House.
Right.
Okay. Blazing Saddles. Couldn't make it. And is this the one kind of country we want to live in? Not me. I'm fighting against it.
Bill, how do we balance the need to not be bullied, to stand up for yourself? When we were growing up, if we were bullied, we were taught to stand up for ourselves and to fight back. Today, it's a totally different world.
It's hard to fight back, and I'm the poster boy for that. I mean, for 20 years plus on the Fox News Channel, I got attacked every single day. And then there were powerful forces arrayed to remove me from the airways, and they finally succeeded, largely because of a change of management at Fox. But that's a long story that is not relevant to what we're talking about, in the sense that everybody has a decision to make. I made my decision that I wasn't going to stop telling what I believe is the truth and backing it up, and I'd take what came. A lot of people don't want to put themselves in that position. They don't want to be scorned. They don't want to be attacked, and I understand that. But when you see something really bad, when you see a particular person who's doing evil, you gotta put yourself out there and tell somebody, or try to alleviate the situation, or we're going to wind up like Germany in World War II. We're going to be looking away from the worst kind of evil there is. And right now, a lot of us are looking away from it. And that's why I wrote the book.
Bill, you're a talent that is very unique. Usually people that are great on radio or television can't write or have trouble. Usually great writers aren't very good on television. How can you do the multi-platform? Is it just a gift?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I, from a very early age, had the gift of Blarney, the Irish Blarney. I mean, I could shut. It's like, O'Reilly, shut up, that kind of thing, even when I was a kid. The writing was just a God-given talent. And I talked to Paul McCartney about this one time. I hate to name drop, but it was interesting because the guy is not an educated man, Paul McCartney, and he's just a kid from Liverpool. And I mean, in the amazing array of songs that he wrote. And I said, did you ever, and he's not a particularly religious guy. And I said, it had to come from God. I mean, it just couldn't, and he kind of looked at me and he agreed that it was a talent that he just had. And the writing is a talent that I just had. Never took a writing class. Never, Kevin. I mean, I never took a voice class. It just was there. And I thank God it was.
Bill, you are the model for deferred gratification. I can remember your first interview with Megyn Kelly, and she said, I interned here and here and here. And you, like all of us that worked our way up in broadcasting, go, I remember my first TV job was in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Have we lost that drive for deferred gratification in America today?
The problem with our society today is instant gratification because of the machines, the devices. So whatever you want, you can fire this thing up, and within 30 seconds, you can have a song, you can have information, you can have games, you can have whatever you want. Bang. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to stand in line to go to a movie. You don't have to plow through 350 pages of a book. You don't have to do any of that. It's right there. Bing. And so people get lazy, mentally lazy, and they're not inclined to pay a price for something worthwhile. And I say this to my kids all the time. If it's hard, it's good, because nothing really worthwhile comes easy. And that extends into relationships. It extends into everything. And I think we're seeing that erode because the people now, they got instant gratification right in their hand.
Bill O'Reilly joining us on KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. Whether it's on BillO'Reilly.com or on your days on the Fox News channel, you've known Donald Trump for years. Can you describe him and what his world is like right now, sir?
It's hard because I don't have access. I haven't talked to him in a few months. I know people in the White House. I think there's a lot of chaos in the White House right now. I think that, the president feels aggrieved. He feels that he's a victim. And for a leader, that's not a good thing. But you can understand it. I can certainly. I mean, there's no doubt there's been a movement to remove him from office, led by the media, from the first day he walked in. And the media does not report on him fairly or honestly. And he feels that he is being persecuted. So we have a president of the United States, most powerful man in the world, who feels that he's a victim of persecution. Not a healthy environment for the country, for him, for the White House.
You've known him for years. Is he an okay guy?
I like him. I mean, he was always interesting to me. We used to go to games together in New York, and I always learned a lot. He knows everybody. He was very candid and honest. I mean, not a BSer. I'm not a buddy of his, but we certainly spent some time together. I've seen him do a lot of generous things. So I wouldn't go to a game, Kevin, unless I liked you. I'm not sitting next to somebody I don't like, particularly at a Knick game when they lose every game, so I don't want to double torture.
Bill, finally, two more questions quickly. For people that miss you, they want to get your commentary, your writings at BillO'Reilly.com. How can they get a hold of you, and what can we expect? Yeah,
I mean, I'm a freelance operator that runs my own news organization now, which is most people don't understand. I know people in Idaho are busy with the holidays and everything, but we have a really good news agency on BillO'Reilly.com, and we deliver a half-an-hour commentary every night, plus messages of the day and other things that are really worthwhile. And it's not expensive. I've kept it down because I know most of my followers are working class people. And all you got to do is go to BillO'Reilly.com and you see it. We got a menu for you. We'll see it. And, if you want to become a premium member, you get the analysis. If you don't, there's a lot of free stuff on there. So I'm enjoying it. I mean, we got concierge membership, which is a little bit more expensive, but you get direct access to me. If you got any questions about life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness, you can ask me, and I will send you an email. I do it directly. So, it's a good thing. I had 20-plus years at Fox. That was enough. I've been in the business 45 years, journalism business. So as this Christmas season approaches, I'm a grateful guy.
Well, Bill, we're grateful to you. And as the local guy that broke the Duke lacrosse case, the highlight of my career was being on with you. And I just always appreciate your respect and decorum for a kid trying to make it. So thank you, sir.
Anytime, Kevin. It's a pleasure to talk with you. You have a Merry Christmas, everybody in Idaho. Enjoy yourselves out there. Beautiful state.
Thank you. There we have it. Bill O'Reilly joining us. Your call's next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning. Back to your comments. If you want to react to Bill O'Reilly or the Ada County Armored Personnel Carrier, Brian in Nampa has waited patiently. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Kevin. I guess I kind of want to hook Bill O'Reilly and the ambulance together. He started out by talking about evil, and you look at having that armored ambulance and throwing it out there to take care of some of those evil situations that members of the community may carry out, and I think that's a good thing. I think the other big thing to point out when we're talking about the money it took to pay for this would be that it was paid for by a grant. I understand the federal money would have came from federal taxes too, but I'd rather it be here than somewhere else.
And do you believe it's necessary?
I maybe not at this time, but as we look to add 25 to 50,000 people into the valley by 2025, I think it probably will be necessary.
Brian, thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Liberty Linda joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, our wonderful Kevin Miller. Thank you for having Bill O'Reilly on. He is a very smart person. I read almost every single one of his books, so thank you very much for having him on. And in response to Hank, though, if you open up a constitutional convention, they, in quote, can erase our whole Constitution one bite at a time, and I'm talking about the libs, because we are only hearing and listening to the right. We have to remember, if we open this can of worms, the libs can come in there too and make all the changes they want. I don't think people are thinking about that.
Well, and that was the disagreement between Hank and Tom Munns about the Constitutional Convention, the Convention of States.
Well, Tom is absolutely correct. Tom has done his homework very well. And I sometimes question this other person. I believe I met him over at the State House.
That was Mark Meckler, yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, I believe I did meet him. And smart guy, nice person, but in my opinion, he is incorrect. We have to be very careful about this, Kevin. This was given to us by our founding fathers, and this is what holds our nation together. If we open it up, they can, like I said, one bite at a time, take away our whole Constitution. Because not only the right is going to be in there, but the left will be in there making changes as well. And sometimes we don't think about that. So anyway, I just want to warn everyone about that, we have to be extremely careful. So that's what I had to...
Right. So your thought is no convention of states.
No convention. Absolutely not. That's my thought, and I'm sticking to it. And, because you have to realize what can happen to it. And I'm talking about one bite at a time, because, they can't just throw the whole thing out. They can do little section by little section at a time. And that's what I worry about. And they are. The libs are being very quiet about this, sitting on the side.
Well, that's why we call them the DLL, the dirtiest, the devious little libs.
Well, you know what? You always bring up the right names. You know, Kevin, and that's why I love you. I love calling in, and I love listening to your show because I love truth. And we can hear the other side, too. You're fair, and I think you heard that somewhere else. But anyway, just want to get the truth out about this Constitutional Convention. Mike may be a very nice person, and maybe he doesn't understand everything. Hopefully it's that way. But, like Tom Munns and others and myself are extremely worried about this. And, we want everyone to know everything about it. That the libs can get in there, too, and change. We're only hearing from the right side. So I just wanted to make that comment to help people's thinking.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you, Kevin. And thank you for your wonderful show.
All right. God bless. Take care, Liberty Linda.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, if it isn't Mom's Apple Pie, Mike Miniger joining us on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Mr. Miniger.
Captain America, they call me. Sort of.
Okay.
So I love Bill O'Reilly. I absolutely love him. I think I went, and I've tried to get into Tucker. I've been watching him since O'Reilly went off, and it's just not the same. But it's that Levittown attitude. It reminds me of the Wahlbergs, right? I mean, Donnie and Danny and Denny and Dickie from Dorchester. There's no nonsense about them. And that's what they hated about Bill O'Reilly, right? They hated his nonsensical approach and take no guff. And I don't know. I'm so happy you get him on. Never been a premium member yet. I should probably spend the $50 or whatever it is. But that's all I got.
That's all you have.
Well, no, I could be cooler than that, but I don't know.
Hey, by the way, we're going to be at the Christmas banquet on Friday if you're joining me for the Boise Rescue Mission.
Friday, yeah. No, I thought it was Saturday.
There's two of them, one Friday in Boise, the other Saturday in Nampa.
Oh. Well, I'm definitely signed up for the Nampa one. That guy sicked me, You told me.
I warned you.
Brian, what is it? Yeah, well, you weren't lying.
I did.
You did lay it down. But anyway, I'm going to that. I didn't know about Friday, so your invite was, I can probably go.
Well, give me a text, and I'll be there. I'll be at both of them.
Well, what time are you going to the Saturday one?
Oh my gosh, this is not a personal conversation. We're excluding the entire 12 people that listen to us.
Okay. Well, there should be people. Never mind. You're right. I'll text you.
Yeah.
Gosh, you're kind of hairy this morning, aren't you?
Thank you, Mike Miniger.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Liberal Steve joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
Good morning. I'm glad you used the full word liberal. And I want to talk about the ambulance, but I want Liberty Linda to stop using the word lib, and everybody that uses words lib, stop using it. We don't say repubs. These are your neighbors. These are your friends.
These are your libs.
These are like your repubs that live next door to you.
Libs.
Yeah, but there's people out there that don't understand that you're saying it not in a mean way. You're just saying it in a connotation of some type.
We're just saying it in a holly jolly sort of way.
Yeah, and it's separating people and still dividing people. And as far as the ambulance, I think it's a good thing because times are getting crazy with all these nightclub shootings and all this stuff. And if an officer is down and he's not dead, he's severely wounded, they can take their officers and walk alongside that ambulance and back right up to them and get them into the ambulance and get them out of there. I mean, look at the Las Vegas shooting and all those attempted mass shootings, and where the officers go in. I think it's a good thing. We're no small potatoes here, and people got to quit acting like it. I mean, between Eagle and Meridian and Boise and Cuna and Mountain Home and Napa, I mean, you got 400,000 people.
Good point. Thank you, Liberal Steve. Good morning, Dave.